All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the City of Temple, to our City Council meeting of December 3rd, 2018. If you will, please stand with us for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. But prior to the invocation, I'd like to observe a moment of silence out of respect and admiration in the death of former President George H.W. Bush. So let's please observe a moment of silence for him and his family. Thank you. Dear Lord, in Jesus' name, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this community and to serve it as elected officials. And I pray for wisdom, knowledge, and discernment as we go about the business of this city. Thank you for those that are in attendance. Pray you just govern each one of us to take care of ourselves and to behave in a way that's civil. And I pray for your blessing upon those that are sick and afflicted, that you would just restore their wellness. Pray for those that are grieved over the loss of loved ones. We just thank you and praise you for all things. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'd entertain a motion to approve the published agenda for this day's City Council meeting as presented.
Make that motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. At this time, we will pause for public comments. If there's anyone here tonight who would like to make public comments, please be recognized and give your name and address. And come up to the end of the table and present what you'd like to share with the council. All right, seeing none and hearing none, then we will close the time for public comments. And now we would go to approval of the last minutes. I would entertain a motion, if it meets your approval, to approve the November 5, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
Make that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right, that brings us to new business. Item number 1, conduct a public hearing on a request for the rezoning of one tract of approximately 1.83 acres of property at 650 Sage Street, which is parcel number T0400400015, from R-2 single-family residential to CN neighborhood commercial, and on a request for a building setback variance on said property. Applications by property owner, Mr. Patel. So at this time, we will have that public hearing. If you would like to speak to this matter, please stand and be recognized. Yes, sir.
Alex Vaughton, representing Mr. Patel over here. And he's the owner of the property. He just wants to rezone it from residential to commercial. He's a local pharmacist in the area. He's had this property for a little while. He's looked at the idea of turning it into a pharmacy, but he's looking at other options. The biggest concern that the Board of Commission was looking at is just the proximity to the high school. And so they wanted to put the caveat on it that no convenience store would be there, anything that would have a negative impact on the high school. Mr. Patel's perfectly fine with that. He's just looking to better the area with a commercial property. The zoning plan is for that area to go commercial anyways, and so there was no concern at the last meeting with it going commercial. Just they wanted to be sure that it was moving in the direction that Temple was wanting. So, do y'all have the plan with you, the preliminary plan? It's showing. I guess we can look at both the rezoning and the setback. It's the plan, if you have it with you. I have it on 11 by 17 here. I know this is This is really small, but it just shows 7 parking spaces, getting it up to code for commercial with a handicap parking space. And the reason for the setback move is the existing building is, it's a residential house that could be used as an office, and the existing building happens to fall about 3 feet inside of the line, because when you move it to commercial from residential, the setback lines change. And so the request for zoning is, if the existing house were to be used for office space, can we bump that back 5 feet so that it complies with the commercial zoning requirement?
Any questions, sir, for this gentleman? All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else who'd like to speak to this matter? All right, seeing none, hearing none, then we will conclude the public hearing on this matter. Move to item 2 and present the council opportunity to approve the request for the rezoning of the tract to approximately 1.83 acres at 650 Sage Street, parcel number TO 4004-0015 from R2 Single Family Residential to CN Neighborhood Commercial, application by property owner Mr. Patel.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
based on what the gentleman said about, because I know that the planning commission had a problem with possibly having a convenience store there. They indicated that they didn't. So based on that, I'll make a motion to approve that request to rezone that area of 650 Sage Street from a single-family residential to CN Neighborhood Commercial.
Second.
I would have a move and a second. Any discussion? Mr. McCray.
It just would also have a motion, and for the record, I think, and second would include the granting of the building setback variance.
Oh, so those two are together?
I do them all at one time.
Okay. Then that's what I'm seconding.
And that's what I'm motioning.
All right. Any discussion?
I think Mr. Pilgrim had sat in on that meeting too, wasn't he at that meeting? Wasn't one of our attorneys at that meeting?
Yes, yeah.
So he didn't have any comments or any problems.
Right.
That's all.
I was thinking your approval
No. Carry, Bill.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, let it know saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. That takes care of items 2 and 3. All right, number 4. Conduct a public hearing on a request for the rezoning of one tract of approximately .4527 acre of property at 155 Sage Street, parcel number TO 2009-0011, from R2 Single Family Residential to OI Office Institutional, application by property owner Lester H. Harmon. Anyone here who would like to speak to this matter concerning this rezoning request?
Hi.
Mr. Rice.
Hey, nice to see y'all. Jason Bites, I'm Lester's son-in-law and his attorney, so you don't have to sit up here and do all this. But the property we're talking about is 155 Sage Street. Everybody knows that is the dental lab, where they have been operating the dental lab there since, I guess, the 60s or 70s. What year did you open up, Mr. Long?
Sure.
What year did you open the dental lab?
74.
So 74, but just prior to that, it had been both a home and a bait and tackle shop. A lot of people don't know that. We're way back up into the 60s. So it's been a business in that location for, I don't know, 60 years, 50, 60 years now. It was originally one of the first dental offices in the city. Dr. Kennedy, y'all have that little history temple book. You'll see a picture of a dentist named Kennedy in there, and that's where he had his office at. I think before he moved to Middle Rick at some point. A couple of the old timers told me about it. They actually remembered them being over there. But this location has been an office of some sort for longer than I've been alive. And basically what we're trying to do with rezoning to O&I is basically a corrective rezoning. It's been used for that purpose for, over 50 years. We looked into the zoning to see what would be the least intrusive to the city. O&I seems to fit that bill. In addition to that, I believe another business there of that nature, it's going to be a law office there, is going to make that livable, walkable community that our zoning board had envisioned. We received a unanimous vote from the zoning board. Actually, they asked us why we would just go ahead and open the office and skip this process. We wanted to make sure that everything was done correctly and all the i's were dotted and t's were crossed before we started putting some money into rehabbing the outside of the building. The inside of the building is actually in pretty good shape. But reviving that area right there, can do a lot for that community in that area and that whole area. Your closest O&I is actually the school, which is kind of at the end of that block. They own some property there. And actually in the middle of the block over to the right as you're driving down State Street, that's Wells Street. About halfway up that street on the right behind some of those houses, there's some property right there that's O&I. So it's fairly close to O&I already. Do you have any questions for me? Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir. Anyone else who would like to speak to this matter? All right, seeing none, hearing none, we will conclude the public hearing and move to item number 5, which is to approve the request for the rezoning of the tract of approximately .4527 acre at 155 Safe Street, parcel number TO 2009-0011, from R2 Single Family Residential to OI Office Institutional. Application by property owner Lester H. Harmon.
I make a motion, we approve.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right. Moving to item number 6. Conduct a public hearing on the City of Temple's proposed 2019 general fund operating budget. To get this started, Mr. Osborne is going to make a few comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the public. I'm going to cover a few things that will be applicable not only to the general fund budget, but also to the water and sewer fund budget and our capital improvements budget. This is the second public hearing tonight on each of these 3 budgets. The first one on the general fund and on the water and sewer fund was on November the 26th, last Monday night. Capital improvements, first public hearing was on October the 29th. The draft budget has been posted here at City Hall. Also has been on our city website. The ordinance that providing for the adoption of the City of Temple's operating budget for the 2019 fiscal year has been posted at City Hall and on the city website. If you've been at the meeting where we have in the past adopted annual budgets, there is one difference that you will see tonight that the elected officials, the city staff, the news media, usually at the public hearings and prior to action that's been taken, the budget ordinance has been read in total. That will not be the case tonight because of the changes that were made in our local legislation several months ago. Now, the city clerk, Kristen Etheridge, printed several copies of these budgets. Ms. Etheridge, the budgets...
They're along that back wall, right under that big clock.
So if anybody does not have a copy of the budget and would like one, you will find it back under the lighted area under the clock, right? So we are providing this for the public. Obviously, the elected officials have had their copies in their workbooks during the past week. It has not changed since we had the work session last Monday night. We do appreciate all the work that our fiscal services consultant, Cynthia Guy, did in coordinating and managing the preparation of these budgets. As you know, Ms. Guy has worked under a contract with the city for about a year and a half on a part-time basis. That arrangement is coming to an end, and she's not here tonight because she is taking a few days off. For the last couple of weeks, she has been working with our new finance director, Dr. Kenneth Abide. He was scheduled to handle part of what I'll be doing tonight, but this weekend he was back in Albany where his wife still is, and unfortunately a deer ran into their vehicle on his side, and he was injured. Fortunately, had to be transported to the hospital by ambulance, but fortunately more bruised up. He told me to try to get here by the end of the day so he could be here, and I told him that everything had already been prepared, and so we would expect to see him coming in here tomorrow at the latest on Wednesday. And we're grateful, of course, that he was not injured other than in a very minor way. As we look at these budgets over the next few minutes, I think you will see that there's not a significant dollar difference in this budget than in the budget that we're operating under here in fiscal 2018. I would describe both your general fund budget and your water and sewer fund budget as continuation budgets. I believe our financial condition has improved from year to year during the past few years, this improvements, I think, have been incremental during that time. So there are not any big surprises, I would say, in the budgets that the public would be seeing that have been put together by staff, mayor and council, with what they have done with them. But I would believe you would recognize that basically we're talking about continuing with some improvements as to what we have been doing in the last few years. Now, on the general fund budget that this first public hearing is, the proposed budget for fiscal 2019 is $3,225,555. This does include using about $293,000 in our fund balance. It does not include any intergovernmental transfer. For example, last year we did transfer about $120 from the water and sewer fund to the general fund to reimburse the general fund for the amount of time that our finance department, myself, Mr. Eberhardt, the department director, spends. We pay down to the general fund. We spend a lot of time on water and sewer. We're not proposing any transfer of that this year, which means our general fund budget, we believe, is in a little stronger condition that will enable our water and sewer fund to remain in a stronger position. The budget that we're looking at is $110,705 higher than the budget that we're operating under this year. If you look at the budget, the biggest amount, not surprisingly, is in the police department. That's $1,097,875. Our main revenues in the general fund, taxes, a little over $2.1 million. That's $20,000 above last year. Our municipal court is $600,000, and that's the same amount that we had budgeted in the amended budget for this year. So basically, we've taken our normal conservative approach. From an expenditure standpoint, there are no items that have a major increase. As I mentioned, the total increase from last year to this coming year, or this year to this coming year, is about $111,000. $15,000 of that is because we have to have a special election and a general election. We do have our first full-time finance director, as I mentioned, and that will be an increase in that cost over what we've been paying the part-time consultant. We do have some increases on computer services, but basically street lights about $10,000 more. Basically, it's pretty much a continuation budget. That's my report to you, members of the public. And so, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you for any comments, questions members of the public may have.
Anyone from the public have a question or comment regarding the general fund operating budget for 2019? All right, seeing none, hearing none, then that will conclude our public hearing on the 2019 general fund operating budget. That moves us to item 7, approve an ordinance to adopt the City of Temple's 2019 general fund operating budget. I would entertain a motion.
I make that motion.
I second.
All right, we have a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the ordinance for the City of Temple's 2019 general fund operating budget, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. All right, that brings us to item 8, which is to conduct a public hearing on the City of Temple's proposed 2019 water and sewer fund operating budget. And Mr. Osborne will get that started.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to repeat what I said in my opening comments earlier, that were applicable both to your general fund budget and your water and sewer fund budget. The water and sewer fund budget that the mayor and council will be acting on tonight, it is a balanced budget, $2,495,366. That is only $8,800 more than the budget for last year. Our revenues in the sewer department were $995,000 last year. In the water department were $833,000. Our sanitation revenues were $215,000. And so when you realize that we are talking about only less than $9,000 on increase in revenues as well as in expenditures, we do show a $433,866 in a fund balance, and this money has been identified to be used in the meter replacement project that will be started during this upcoming fiscal year. Sanitation services, it was $225,000 last year. We are expecting $10,000 less this year in revenues, which means that's something that the mayor and council will be addressing as we look ahead toward 2020. Our major increase that we have is in our lift station repair and maintenance, an increase of $20,000. Also, with the Carroll County Water Authority, that went up on the wholesale rate, that will increase by $20,000, which basically means that we're cutting in other areas, because as I said, we'll have an increase overall only a little less than $9,000. We did shift the utilities budget so that we put this, what we think is a more appropriate charge to the sewer treatment plant for what's used at the sewer treatment plant, and the other cost is part of the water distribution budget. The final thing I would say that, well, actually, I mentioned that earlier, that we would not be doing the intergovernmental transfer from the water and sewer fund to the general fund, which shows that we're strengthening the general fund and also will enable us to make the water and sewer fund balance be higher. That concludes my comments. Open it, Mr. Mayor, for questions that any member of the public may have.
All right, anyone from the public would like to ask a question or make a comment? All right, seeing none, hearing none, then we will conclude the public hearing on the matter of the 2019 Water and Sewer Fund operating budget. Move to item number 9, which is entertain a motion to approve an ordinance to adopt the City of Temple's 2019 Water and Sewer Fund operating budget.
I make a motion to approve the 2019 Water and Sewer Fund operating budget.
Second.
All right, we have a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Item number 10, conduct a public hearing on the City of Temple's proposed 2019 capital improvements budget. Mr. Osborne.
My preliminary comments, as you remember, are applicable both to the capital improvements budget as well as to the two budgets I previously mentioned. Our capital improvements budget for fiscal year 2019 is a total of $1,800,100. Of this, we're expecting $696,100 to be coming from the 2015 SPLOSH revenues. And then we expect $312,000 to come from the water fund. The expenditure areas, we are looking at projects both at the senior center, in the recreation department, public works, police department, administration, sewer treatment plant, and the water department. This would include $400,000 for our water meter replacement project that I mentioned earlier. Will include $219,000 in the recreation department. That includes upgrading the parking lots and the walking trail, making security improvements in renovations in 3 restrooms and concession facilities. Also, $85,000 for the purchase and equipping of 2 new police vehicles, and $89,600 for improvements at the sewer treatment plant. That's my report to you on the capital improvements budget. Mr. Mayor, would turn it over to you to see if we have any questions or comments from the public.
Anyone present from the public who'd like to ask a question or make a comment regarding the 2019 capital improvements budget? All right, seeing none, hearing none, then we will conclude the public hearing and move to item number 11, which is to entertain a motion to approve an ordinance to adopt the City of Temple's 2019 capital improvements budget.
Motion to approve the capital improvements budget 2019.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Item number 12. Change the time of the regular monthly meeting of the City Council committees from 5:30 p.m. Monday, December 31, 2018 to 5:30 p.m. Thursday, January 3rd, 2019, due to the New Year's Day holiday. I'll entertain a motion to make that
I'll
change.
make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Item number 13, report on the solicitation of sealed bids for the purchase and installation of replacement fencing as needed for Field 1, Field 2, Field 3, Field 4, Field 7, and Field 8 in the city park. John.
I'm going to make just a quick report, and if you have any questions, Mr. Wilson is here and he can respond. When we met in the committee's meetings, I was looking at some action that you might need to take tonight, but after reviewing the minutes of your regular meeting back on November the 7th, you did your authorization there. And what we would wanted to be sure that the wording in the bid documents were what you wanted to see. And of course, we provided that to you last week, and you apparently were comfortable with that. Basically, what we're doing for you tonight is simply making a report that we do plan to have these specs that we would advertise during next week. We would be looking at getting the steel bids in before Christmas. We would be looking at coming to you at your first meeting on January the 7th for you to decide which company would do the work. So that's the timeline, and if you have questions on Anything on content, Mr. Wilson's here today to respond.
Any questions? If not, moving to item number 14. Select the company to install a new heating and air conditioning system in the Temple City Hall, with the cost being paid from funds to be transferred from the 2018 Water Fund budget to the 2018 General Fund budget in accordance with the 2018 fiscal year budgets approved in December 2017 by the City Council. Mr. Osborne.
Just to start, Mr. Mayor, I think everybody has a copy of this memo that, and we had given you information earlier. It sent a couple bits of information to you earlier today. What we have is, we have quotes from 5 companies. As you know, this is part of this is a follow-up from your meeting last Monday night. What I've done is listed the companies from the lowest bid to the highest bid. You do have in front of you answers in one of my memos to a couple of questions raised last Monday night. That's my report to you. If you have questions, be glad to try to respond. And I know that there's probably some discussion that you need to have as you decide on your course of action.
Can we have discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During our committee meeting, I had told y'all that I had questions for Ragsdale and for Comfort Heating and Air. And I had called both of them to talk to them and got our questions answered, or got my questions answered. I did the same today with B&B Heating and Air. I talked to Mr. Brown, had questions for him. And one question was about the SEER rating. He said it would be a 14 SEER, which is higher, it's a higher efficiency than the lower bid. And he's also proposing to do a complete 7.5-ton heat pump train system, which the train is supposedly one of the top of the line. And train is what we have up there now and what we have in the outside condenser. And what Mr. Brown had done, he took the model number off of the equipment that we currently have, and he got a quote on the exact equipment, put it in the same manufacturer. So that's what I found out. He is $1,165 higher than the lowest bid, but it's a higher efficiency unit, and it is a train unit, which is what we are currently using.
But that's not in the bid.
What?
That information you just gave is not in the bid.
The train, 7.5 ton,
Is in the bid, but none of that other information is in his bid.
it wasn't in the other bids either. This information that I called and got. And also, the train, he said he thought it was a 10-year warranty on the compressor, where the other ones were a 5-year. But that's just information.
But that's not in the bid. I wish this bid had been there. This is all I've got going, right? Is there anything else I've got going?
That's all we received, Mr. Mayor.
That's what we have to do.
Can we go on that?
I think the question becomes, how quickly do you need this done?
Depends on the weather.
Last week we needed it yesterday.
Oh, that's for the heat, correct? Yeah.
And the reason I ask is because Howard brought up some points about the inconsistencies with regard to time, warranties and things of this nature. And what you'd have to do, obviously, is put tomorrow, go back to everybody and the 3 of them and say, all right, we want to know these answers to these questions as a supplement to the bid, 1, 2, or 3, get those in, then you have to have a special meeting to approve it. And so it's a matter, you have the discretion to go on what you got tonight, what Mr. Bracken said, to make the decision, or you can ask those questions tomorrow ask them for that by date certain, the next couple of days. Seem like that'd be information you get pretty quickly, but you'll have to meet again to make a decision.
Is there any way of doing it in such a way that if we were to be interested in the B&B services, to say, based on, if, you know, we would accept this bid if this, and this is accurate? Or to supply that, you can't do that,
I
right?
think so, because I think.
But that's what kind of bothers me, when a bid comes in like this, but we have all this other information, but that's not attached to the bid. This, all this information is formatted in a bid.
And I think because of that, in due deference to all the bidders, you'd have to go back to them and ask the specific parts as an amendment to your request for proposals, and then give them a date certain to get it back to you, and then they can make that decision. Or go ahead, depending on yesterday's decision.
Did we run this in the paper?
No.
So we really kind of probably dropped that in B&B's lap. Is that kind of what we did?
Well, I think it was an emergency type situation. The heat was out,
Right.
and so they just quickly got together ideas and came prices that were submitted, you know, in the format that we have here. Then, in all fairness, we had a local company that had not been contacted.
Right.
And when that local company was contacted, on the back of the business card, they gave us that information.
Right.
So I don't have, I mean, you know, I think I would love for it to be, if at all possible, we use local businesses. And I would say table this and get the,
Let's talk about one other thing that you brought up, that's an exception to the general rule about bidding things, and it applies to larger construction contracts. But any emergency situation allows you to make certain exceptions to how you want to do it. Therefore, because of the yesterday rule, I would suggest to you go ahead and get it to them tomorrow. And I assume this is pretty standard information, would you think?
it really is done.
Then because it's standard, give them tomorrow or not later than close of business Wednesday to get it to you. And because it's an emergency situation, then you could have a call meeting quickly to make the decision within a matter of 2 or 3 days. 1 day for bidding, if you want to do that, make the decision on Wednesday. I hate to tell you to have another meeting, but I'm afraid you gotta have that information for the record to make a decision.
Or we could base a decision on this.
Yes. Without the stuff right now.
I called 3 companies about information that was not included in the bid, so it wasn't like the rest of them didn't leave stuff out, they did leave things out too. So, but I got my answer, but it's, you know, not on their paper.
Well, the other thing would be, this is what's going on in my mind. I want to make sure that I'm okay with my thinking. That it stands to reason that there's going to be a warranty on this product. And it's either going to be 5-year or 10-year. So it only would be a better thing. It would only be a better thing if it was a 10-year and a 5-year. I just want to make sure, I mean, I don't have a problem making a motion to go with this company because it's local, based on that information. I just want to make sure that it's something that, you know, I don't want to make that motion and then come back and there be no warranty. That's the only thing I have a problem with. I don't care if it's a 5-year or a 10-year, because a 5-year matches everybody's. A 10-year would be a better product. And the only other, and you know, it seems as if it's going to be come down out of that roof somehow or another and get it back up in there. Is that reasonable?
I think in your question, I think you kind of answered it. That is, we don't have the nature of the warranty from B&B, other than what you got today orally. And so what we want is the warranty information from all of them Now, that's part two, I didn't go back and look at this. Is the actual warranty included in the others? I know there's a specification about it.
About a
but-
1-year labor warranty with 5-year parts warranty. That's Comfort Solutions.
That's in, and then, I mean, like I say, that's in all of them, but that's a full warranty on labor and parts.
We have one that's a 10-year warranty, but we don't know what brand it is.
That's right, and you know, the brand may make a difference. What's the nature of the warranty on parts? And then, you know, I saw one on their heating and air conditioning, mine, where they excluded what went out. So, you know, I guess you might want to, again, give them tomorrow, give them the general specs of what you want, compare the warranties, compare the time periods, and then, I'm sorry.
My only concern is the nose-diving temperature that's projected for this week.
I agree, which is I give them, because it's an emergency, I give them virtually no, or a
Well,
very short period of time.
Related to that, we have gotten by turning the emergency heat function on
You got to back up.
to get us by.
So I guess then what we need to do is just make a motion to table this until we have the information we need.
Right.
A question to the attorney and mayor and the council. Rather than trying to deal with all 5 of these, asking them to very quickly give the information, it sounds to me that your top 2 bidders, nobody's even talked about them at all. So do we need to get this from all 5, or most of your discussion has been between the 2 low bidders?
Good point.
Between B&B and Comfort Solutions.
That would be, that's only our one, you know.
But that, and I think what a good point that is, so, you know, let's go ahead and not do the other 3, because they're not in the competitive bidding position, quote unquote.
Because if that warranty is there, this is competitive, you know, this is local versus the other. That's the reason I was saying, you can't accept that, we just say it has to be one. You can't make that can't be a motion.
No, I don't think so. I think you're gonna need it then.
All right, so then what we need to do is table and ask for these 2 to get the warranty information.
Yes. As the 2 lowest bidders, that's what the clerk would put in here.
And one of them is training equipment versus roof.
Road.
Yeah.
Both which
One of
They're
them,
both good. You
both good quality.
one of them is a higher SEER rating, but again, that's over funding.
Well, and I would ask too that if you're gonna go back and then, I would like to make sure that B&B understands that they have to take the old system out that's gonna be taken away. Because they don't even talk about the old system.
He just said with ceiling work.
Who wrote that? Okay, so that's with Silver.
Yeah, that's his bid.
But
On the back of the car.
Not trying to read his mind, but I think when you use the words complete change out, I think that's what he implies.
Take that,
Well, when I was asking my questions today, when I was getting information, he did say, yeah, he would go through the ceiling and everything will be repaired as it is.
he wants to be, get him put it in writing, is what I say. Put everything in writing so we can see it. So I stand by my motion if that's appropriate. That's okay, Howard? I stand by my motion.
All right, any discussion, or did we get a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Yes, sir.
Can we have a motion repeated, because like I say.
Yeah, what we want-
I really don't want to deal with these
What we
other.
want are the 2 that we want an addition from Southern, it's Comfort Solution and B&B Services. We want the warranty, and the statement is what they mean by a complete change-out. Details of what that means.
We're in the weeds now, so since we're there, let me put another weed out there. You're right, I need to quit. Most lawyers don't know when to shut up. This is maybe one of those times. Is there a potential difference, Howard, in the SEER rating between the 2?
Just one SEER. One of them's 13 SEER, one's 14 SEER.
Is that a material difference?
The higher the SEER rating, the more efficient the unit.
Okay, it's not that,
But it's not that.
not that significant.
Okay,
So it's the warranty and how he's gonna get it in and out, that's,
Right.
that's the big deal.
Of the two low bids.
The other three, we know.
The other three bids, higher bids have been rejected. The minutes need to show that.
And the higher bids have been rejected, President.
All right, we have a move and a second to seek additional information from B&B Services and clarification from Comfort Solutions. Any more discussion?
And rejection of the other.
And rejection of the other three bids. All in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Osmond will set us up a call meeting in the near future.
Justin, but I'll be calling.
Don't do it on Christmas Day.
Call me in the morning.
Uh-huh.
Don't be Christmas Day.
Let's just go ahead and do it on Thursday. Let's
So
just
we're
get it done.
trying to do it, get it done this week.
That's right, let's do it on Thursday.
Do it this week. Well, if we can get it done, it'd probably be better Wednesday evening early.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, item 15.
Okay.
Approve an amendment to the City of Temple's agreement with KREC Restoration Group, Inc. for replacement of the current roof on the city's old Public Works building in order to install insulation as a part of said project with the additional cost not to exceed $2,680 and for said funding to come from the city's 2015 SPLOST program. Mr. Everhart.
Can we just make a motion and get to the discussion? I mean, it's gotta be, it's gotta be.
Go for it.
I make the motion.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Now, discussion. Any questions from Mr. Everhart regarding what we read?
Yeah, exactly. What did they run into? Was it like rotten wood or?
I didn't speak to them. They came in and spoke to Mr. Osborne last Tuesday. And,
It's insulation part of it, right?
right.
They found 4 layers, up there, but no insulation.
No insulation. So they're probably putting in some insulation. And that's still the same type of roof you got now,
Yeah.
only with so you got a little
There's
elevation.
a little elevation at the back.
So they're at a stopping point right now.
They haven't even started
They haven't started anything?
yet. Right, they just dropped the material off.
Okay, so they did get into it enough to tell what was there.
They brought at least most of the material.
Yeah, they brought some additional material on Friday. So most of the material is there.
Will that be batting insulation or blown?
I'm not sure. Probably, I don't think it'll probably be long.
Probably bad.
I don't think they could blow it anywhere. I don't think it's.
Right out.
They don't hold it.
Yeah, I think what he said here, looking at the 5th paragraph, in my memo to you, said that the statement is, the quote is to install a new 1/4 inch tape ISO insulation slope to the back side of the building. But that's all the information it provided.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Number 16, approve the transfer of $312,000 from the water fund operating account to the water sewer system money market account to hold until needed for the water system meter replacement project. Mr. Osborne, you have any comments to add?
And Ms. Bivens may, basically, as I understand it, this is enabling us to put that money aside and learn a little more on it, and it still would be available to us at time we would need to use it.
That's correct.
Anything to add, Ms. Bivens?
No, sir.
All right, I'd entertain the motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve this transfer of this money from the water fund account to the water sewer system money market account to hold until needed for our water system meter replacement project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Any opposed, the same sign. Moving to item 17, adopt a resolution to approve the list of 2019 street resurfacing and improvement projects to be submitted to the Georgia Department of Transportation for funding assistance under its local maintenance and improvement grant program. Mr. Everhart.
Yes, Mayor Council, if you recall last week, we had some discussion on adding an additional street. That street was Temple Terrace, Tennessee Street. And the additional cost is $5,500, and that puts us right at the $71,000 mark that we were allocated for street repairs. I think in the memo that Mr. Osborne sent you, I think he was adding $6 to $8 to make it a plus.
Any questions for Mr. Everhart?
I make a motion
Approved?
to approve.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. All right, that brings us to number 18. Adopt a resolution to apply the City of Temple roadway and infrastructure improvement fee to the Schoolhouse Trace residential community effective as of December 4, 2018. Mr. Osborne.
We had talked about this, of course, at your committee meetings a week ago, and I subsequently had talked with the new property owner. Don't know if he or a representative is here tonight. He indicated to me that he thought that this sounded like a good idea, and did talk with some of the citizens. I think we've got a couple of them here tonight, but would propose that, recommend that you approve the resolution.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, number 19, report on the City of Temple's 2018 Thanksgiving event. Council Mayor Pro Tem Richard Braghorn.
Yes, and I want to thank the community if you were remotely a part of this process. As you know, this is kind of a joint effort of the city and the local churches and all the volunteers. We had approximately 50 volunteers, and we served 261 plates. That's both takeout and those that came and had lunch with us. It's a very successful project, and the community is to be commended for their efforts in doing this. It's a community effort with lots of people involved. And if you see someone you know is a widower or a widow that's sitting there having lunch and you see them smiling and having a good time, if that doesn't touch your heart, knowing that they're there with friends rather than standing home by themselves. Saw that kind of across the board a number of times. It's very rewarding. So thank you, community.
Thank you, sir. Item number 20, report on plans for a special election to be held on March 19, 2019 to fill the vacant Ward 3 position on the Temple City Council, with qualifying to occur at City Hall on January 7 through 9. Kristen Etheridge.
So as y'all know, we're having a special election on March 19th. As the agenda states, we'll be having qualifying the 7th through the 9th. It'll be that Monday and Tuesday from 9 to 4, and I believe Wednesdays from 8 to 1. All that information will be published shortly. I spoke with Mr. Greg Grigsby at the Carroll County Elections Office recently. Right now, the plan is to have early voting, I believe, for 3 weeks. They're going to have it for 2 weeks in Carrollton and Billerica. And the third week, they plan to have at the Temple Senior Center. So that should give everyone plenty of time to vote. And that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Etheridge? Yes, sir.
I guess one reason I asked that this report be presented, and Kristen mentioned that, you have your regular December meeting tonight. Next month, when you have your regular January meeting, you'll be in the midst of qualifying time, so it's not that far away.
Thank you, sir. All right, that completes our agenda. We get now to executive session, which we have no need to do that. So that brings us to closing comments. Councilwoman Taryn Biddens.
None, thank you.
Councilman Harold Walden.
I just appreciate how fast the meetings are moving along now.
I think so. Councilman Wallace.
No comment.
Councilman Brackman.
Certainly time to say Merry Christmas.
Mr. Attorney, anything you need to add?
No, sir.
All right. Well, just so we can drag this out a little bit.
Just a little.
A little bit. Want to make sure everyone's aware that, we were saddened to have to cancel the country Christmas on Saturday, but the weather spoke louder. With tomorrow, beginning at 4 o'clock here in City Hall until 6:30, we will have an event in which we will have a Santa Claus, and the public is invited to attend, specifically our younger citizens. And there will be hot chocolate and cookies for consumption. And so we need more kids here to eat them rather than bigger kids eating them, if you get what I mean. And so please spread the word. We have communicated that with our elementary schools, and they promised to share that with the younger citizens today and hopefully again tomorrow. So that's tomorrow here at City Hall from 4 to 6:30. Also, I'd like to go, because we may not have another meeting in which she can attend, but I want to go on record, even in her absence, to extend a very hearty and heartfelt thank you to Miss Cynthia Geyer for her consulting services to the city for a little bit over a year now, that she has been with us in a part-time fashion. And I hope she knows that her imprint upon the finances of this city is permanently made. And we thank her greatly for the help that she has provided to the City of Temple's finances. Also want to mention that this coming weekend, which will be the 8th and 9th at the Discount Salvage down the street, they will have Santa Claus there both afternoons. And I reviewed the hours, but I don't remember them at this time. But he will be glad to pose with anyone who wants to make a picture with him. And they also encourage folks to bring canned goods as a donation for that cause to be used to help those who need them. And finally, with the uncertainty of our special call meeting that we may have, I want to go ahead and extend to our community, the City of Temple and all its citizens, a very hearty Merry Christmas from the City of Temple. If there's no other word, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Oh, Santa will go.
Oh, yes, thank you. One more addendum to the information about tomorrow's Santa event. At the conclusion of the time here at City Hall, Santa will be transported by special vehicle and hopefully with a police escort, if that can be worked out, from City Hall to our public library to flip the switch for the tree lighting. All right.
Awesome.
Now, we are
Now we
adjourned.
can go home.